the tea. Okay,
Yes.
let's start over.
All right. So listen, guys, for all those who are coming in, thank you so much. We are here with another episode of Indie Talks. Listen, of course, I'm your host, Ayesha Lewis Redway, and my beautiful co-host Danielle could not be with us tonight, but she here in spirit. But tonight episode, we are speaking. And I told you when I told you we are bringing some media mavericks here, and we're gonna be talking about who is blazing in the industry. Listen, tonight's guest, Miss Anisa, Brenee. Thank you so much for being
I'm
here.
so, so excited. Listen, I feel like the best lives always come with some shenanigans. So let's just go ahead and claim that this is the best
Oh,
one yet.
this is gonna be
Yeah,
the
yeah,
best. Okay, we got this.
yeah. Yeah.
All right. First of all, happy Women's History Month before it done because March done came in and literally running out.
March, March has got somewhere to go. But let me tell you something. I have really enjoyed just all the celebration,
Mm-hmm.
and watching us. I look forward to March every year just because I like to see
Yes.
what ways we're going to show up and celebrate and give each other our flowers. So, first, thank you. And happy Women's History Month to you as
Thank
well.
you so much.
Um,
I was actually doing working on some video contents and kind of talk about, what Women's History Month means to me. And, I just think about, and I'm not trying to get all deep, but
let's
I
go
do,
there.
but I do think about, the fact that we don't came a long way. We still got some ways to go,
We got,
but we
we
don't,
got ways.
we got some ways to go.
Yes.
But I think that it's just when I think about the women, because obviously being as both as in this media entertainment industry, I think we look at the women and we hear their
Yeah.
stories and
Yeah.
all of the things that they've been through and things that we go through individually, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like life changing, and it just gives me more strength to just continue, because at the end of the day, no matter the no's or the, oh well, you don't know this, or you're not man enough to handle this, or you can't do this, like, listen, and then we come through and we kick the door down and we just show them what we got. That's it. So hats off to all the women out there who is doing the damn thing,
Yeah.
okay?
Hats off. Hats off, wigs off, all the good.
That part too. So we're gonna keep our waist on tonight, okay? Uh, so let's get into this. I'm so eager to hear your story. I've definitely seen you. I know some of the circles, and I've seen you in some of the Media Girl Network and some of the things that we do as media girls. But I wanted you and I needed you on this platform just to kind of, especially for this month, to just kind of talk about your journey. Just give us, your journey into the entertainment. You as a spokesperson, working in entertainment, digital media. Just kind of give us a talk in your background and how you got into
Yeah,
it.
for sure. So to make a what in my opinion feels like a long story, to make it medium, um, I would just say I went to school for mass communications. It's me sitting here, I have to think about it, but I went to school for mass communications, and at the time I really wasn't sure what I was gonna do with it. I just knew that when I went off to school, I needed to pick something that would allow me to do something fun still. I felt like at the time majors were still so serious. The most creative you could get at the time, I feel like, was like film. And even at the
Yeah.
school that wasn't film, screenwriting, things like that. I took a screenwriting course, but that wasn't quite the direction I was going in. So when I saw that radio was an option, or a concentration, I said, okay, well, I love radio. I love the impact that it has on the community. I like waking up and trying to figure out what it is about these personalities that draws me into them
Mm.
and how I can be that for somebody else. And additionally, at the time, I didn't know what these people looked like. Like, yes, we had Google, but nothing in me made me feel like I need to go, like, I need to go look them up. It didn't matter.
Right.
So that was my big thing. And I'll never forget being asked to host. It's always a fashion show when it comes to
Yeah.
college, but to host the show. And they're like, well, have you done it before? And I was like, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm.
But they didn't know that. You know, it wasn't their business. It was just it was my business. It was my thing to show up and do the job.
Right.
So I did it, scared and all, because this was the first time I was coming out of being afraid of what I sounded like and what I looked like while people were listening to me. Because radio it's a faceless
Right.
at the time. So doing all of that, being on campus, I was driving back and forth to Atlanta, to Carrollton, and I was grinding. When I say hustling nonstop,
Yeah.
putting miles on my car because I didn't have a car at the time. I was like, just trust me, I need the car. It's all gonna pay off one day. I promise you. Just please, just ride, just ride, just ride. And she let me do it every time until I got the car. And I will say I had a lot of dope people around me, and it helped being from the city. It helped being from Atlanta. And the other thing I'll add is just I've always treated staying in Atlanta like that artist mentality of get your city behind you and then move somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always wanted this sense of if I decide to go somewhere else, home will always call me back
Yeah.
because of the work that I put in on the front end. Um, I know I get chills every time I say it because I feel like at the time I was in first album mode,
Mm.
which that nostalgic feeling of you stay up late, you're interviewing everybody, you are, posting a whole lot on Instagram. Girl, I had alarms set to wake up at 5 a.m. to make a post, so that I was the first thing people saw in the morning and the last thing they saw at night. So it was like clockwork. And yes, I see it in the chat, Carrollton. Yes, good old West Georgia, go Wolves. Yeah, back and forth an hour every single time, and that's 2 hours in the day.
Mm.
Went to school for radio, came out. A connection from college is how I got into the radio space outside of school. And it was just somebody who believed in me. And it's because I had my own business card when I met him on campus. He was like, you were so professional. And I just loved that. So we wanted to make sure that you had a place here.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. And it's just like, and then it goes to show you as well that a you were very poised in what you do, and you just, like you said, you just grind to do it, right? And people see that and see the professionalism in who you are and how you're presenting yourself. And sometimes it also says you never know who's watching. That's the one thing, never know who's watching. It can make and break the difference in how you set the path for your career.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, or kind of go into the next, which actually goes into my next question in regards to, because I know we talked about you talk about getting into radio. Now, prior to you getting to radio, what do you know that pivotal moment where you knew that this was for sure? Like, can you remember a time where you could have been hosting or you could have been doing an event or an interview where it was just like, oh, this is definitely it for the rest of my life. Like, I know that this is it for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that
And
moment like? What was that moment like for you?
so it's crazy because there was an opportunity years ago. I don't remember if I was still in school or if I was out of school yet. I have to check the day after, but it was when I got the email from, ooh, I want to say it was Paramount, for Will Packer's What Men Want.
Mm.
And it was an opportunity to be a part of their press junket, and I had never been a part of a press junket before. That moment for me was the first time I feel like imposter syndrome really set in, because I didn't know how they found me. Nope. Yeah, no. I know how they found me, but I couldn't believe that this person trusted me enough to go in for that. And when I tell you, I had people, shout out to my big sister, Shelly Nicole. She helped me get this outfit. Had people running around the city looking for the clothes. I was coming to questions, buying hard drives, just trying to make sure, doing my research, trying to make sure all of my I's were dotted and T's were crossed, because I didn't know who was going to be at this press junket. I just knew you're talking to Will Packer. The day before, I believe, I find out that Taraji P. Henson is going to be there, and I completely lose it. I mean, shambles, scrambling, trying to figure out everything, trying to figure out my life. And I just had to, everybody around me kept reassuring me that you were built for this. This is the beginning of what's going to be an incredible career for me. And it set the tone.
I love
So for that,
a good community.
you know what I'm saying?
I love
You
a
know,
good community.
and so I just had to, like, it was a connecting the dots of, girl, somebody saw enough in you to bring you to the radio station. You're enough in that space. Somebody saw it fit to put your name on this press junket list because you're good at what you do. Yet again, another dot connection. You are good to people. And when you're good to people, they mention your name in rooms that you may not have even stepped into.
Mm.
So that's why I'm like, there will always be a please and a thank you.
Yes.
There will always be a do you need anything? There will always be a how can I help? Because you don't know what that please, thank you, how can I help is going to do for the other person. And also, too, I think that kind of steps into, and I don't know if you're going to hit on this later, about doing things for free, transparently. And I say this to you because I hope that we get out of the mindset that everything, we got to get paid for every single thing. Because to date, I still do free work for certain opportunities. But that's because I'm looking at the big picture.
That part.
And sometimes free, and I say this too, free doesn't always mean I'm not getting anything. Free means you might get less than what you think you're owed. But there's like, I just know where my faith is rooted, God has a bigger plan for me, and it depends on that. Yes, do you trust me enough to take this opportunity knowing you're not getting what your rate is, but I'm gonna show you on the other side what you're really gonna get.
Child, you got me want to jump up out my chair. Because when I tell you that's a word, and I think that's something that I was going to touch on this later, but since we're already there, let's get
Let's get into it.
because I get a lot of conversations, and where I've helped out organizations, and I do sort of different things, and sometimes people are like, girl, you should be charging, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, and da 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 da. And I think because of my faith, and I know where God is putting me and where He's leading me, I just be like, I just look at the bigger
You
picture. I just like, right now it's free,
guys,
but where He's gonna take me.
and listen, the person I just mentioned, Shelly Nicole, is in here.
Oh,
I you for that opportunity. She held me together, pulled up on the side of what was the iHeartRadio building with my outfit from H&M, handed it to me out the window and said, have a great, hold on. Yeah, she said, have a great show. I said, oh my gosh, that's what I'm saying. It's
right.
community. So
It's
in all
community.
of the things, big picture, I just like keep that here. Big picture.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, shout out to your community. Thank for in recognizing and being able to pour into you and say those things to be able to take away that imposter syndrome. Because yes, I think that our biggest enemy is ourselves. Like, we can just have one thought. And I think about a saying Brandy was talking about with her daughter, and she was saying to her, she was like, if you have a negative moment, she said, only allow yourself up to, I think she said, less than 15 seconds or something like
It was
that.
like a real
It was
quick, have a real quick moment.
real quick and get out of it.
But the minute that you let that thought linger, and I have a
Yep.
bad habit of doing this, the minute you let it linger, it now controls the entire situation. Now, my friends know this about me. I am the dramatics through and through. Like, I need it to run out of me. I need to be sad, roll on the floor, cry about it a little bit. I just need to throw a couple of cuss words around.
Right.
And I'm back. But my 15 seconds is a little bit longer than 15 seconds.
And that's okay. We're human though.
Not,
And that's okay, because I think even for us, you'd be like, you know what, let me have this one moment. Let me get it out my system. Let me just, and then once I have it and it's out my system, let me just move on. We'll move on from it. We're
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, since we're kind of talk about, just allowing ourselves to kind of let go a little bit and kind of get through the negativity. I want to talk about, for you as a person, because you balance a lot of hats. I kind of do. I want to go back in a bit about you getting in radio and being a voice. Let's talk about balance, right? Because we see the wonderful things. I know you had an event on yesterday. We see the wonderful hats that you play working with these amazing clients and brands. And of course, being able to be balanced, because being a woman of faith as well, being able to balance. Talk about what does that look for you, and how do you maintain that to be able to be on the side to say, you know what, I have a healthy, understanding of me, and being able to understand that how I can be able to balance with others.
I think balance is being figured out every single day. If I'm to be honest with you, I think that too. I am in a place where, again, I can't even put it on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that God just has me in a place right now where it's like, here are the things that are important. Here are the things that you prioritize that you and I both know are not as important. And then here are the things that you just need to do away with.
Right.
Um, so I have been able to find it where I don't go out nearly as much as I used to. I go support, do the things when I absolutely have to, but where a late night for me was a normal thing at one point in time, I prioritize getting in the bed so I can get up earlier and make sure I'm in my best state. So whether
Mm-hmm.
that's waking up early, spending time with God, going to the gym, getting some work done early, whatever, I found it helping me to balance my day if I start with myself as opposed to starting with the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody needs something once the day gets going. Come 8:30, 9 o'clock, everybody has
Your
a
phone
has a
is going off, emails going off.
everything. And then people want it in a certain time. And I get that. We all got things. But something I'm learning is that what 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 a fire looks like to them is not a fire to me. And what a fire is to me is not a fire to somebody else.
I love
But what a fire is to me in this season is, how do I feel when I wake up? How do I feel before I go to bed? How are my days flowing? It's me. I got to prioritize me. And to some people, that's a selfish thing to do. But I'd be remiss if I show up like the Grinch
that.
and now I'm
They'll
crazy.
be like, "Oh, she mean? What's going on?
Yeah,
She
you
got up
won't.
on the wrong side of the
I
bed."
sure did. I sure did. And you didn't allow me to upload properly. I'm still
Mm-hmm.
downloading. I'm still up. I'm still here. Okay. I'm gonna get you what you need, but I'm gonna just need you to hold on.
Right.
So yeah. But I think the balance comes from, one, setting a routine. I'm practicing discipline right now. Oh my gosh, it's so hard.
I know, because you put
Girl,
a video up. You talk about something you're doing with your church
yes.
in regards to, and I thought that was just so amazing. Like, because sometimes we start off good, and then it's like, okay, life hits us, and then it's just like, okay, we go off the path, but now we gotta come back.
Tell you. Let me tell you something. I know you've seen that video. Let me tell you something. Yeah, so I'm doing Sikh season, which is Lent for my
Yeah.
church. And I am I started on Ash Wednesday, which is, what you're typically supposed to do for Lent, the 40 days,
Mm-hmm.
40 nights. And then my pastor shared corporately that we're doing Seek season. It's a time where we seek God in all things. So giving something up, spending time with Him, adding 15 minutes to your day earlier, getting your word, do all the things. So me and my friend group, we got together and we have a group message and we will talk every morning. Week
Mm-hmm.
1, we were on solid. We were putting all our notes in the chat, good. We were like, oh my gosh, I read this, sending each other videos. Week 2, okay, we're still sending. Week 3, y'all good? All right, we making it.
Just making sure y'all breathing.
This week, we're leading into Easter. When I tell you, we probably sent one message. Now we're all
Mm.
still doing it on our own, but I think that this too goes to show back to that community piece. Is it's like, I've always known this season and fasting to be something that you do on your own and that you do without talking about it. And so I've had a hard time vocalizing what I'm going through because I've only ever known it to be something that I do internally. And so now that we're on week 4, it's that discipline piece. It's like, keep with the group, talk to
Mm-hmm.
them, share what you're feeling, share what you're going through. I'm trying to balance talking to them and talking to God at the same time, opening that Bible, finding something.
Right.
So from a discipline standpoint, I'm still doing it because I need God this year to show up in ways that, I don't know, I don't know. that he hasn't before. He may have, but in this season it looks new. So I'm seeking him differently than I have in the past. And I'm also growing up. That's the scary part.
Mm.
When you get older and you realize what was working in one season isn't working in this one.
Mm. Now,
So
are
yeah.
you going to continue with sixth season? I understand that it was just for the time frame leading up to the fact of Easter. But do you see yourself continuing this content? Because we're going to talk about, we got a couple of points we need to hit first off. We're going to talk about a couple of things that you're going to, as far as content that you do. But is this a continuance of content that you feel like that can give you a little bit more vulnerability in regards to you being a personality and being in faith?
You know, I'm glad that you asked that. And I'm surprised too at the response that I've gotten
Mm-hmm.
by sharing the walk I'm on faith-wise. I think that I never talked about it a whole lot because the audience I had at the time was more into the people I was interviewing and less into my life outside of here. I also wasn't ever very confident in just being like I never showed who I was with my friends to my followers.
Mm.
And this again, it started as soon as Seek season started. But when I started Lent, I only gave up liquor. I'm not an alcoholic. Not that shouldn't be the first thing out of my mouth. That shouldn't be the first thing.
No,
But
no, no.
I took that out because at every event there's always a bar. It's
Mm-hmm.
either open bar or somebody's there to buy a drink. And so I'm like, okay, once I get in the groove, give me another one. But then as soon as Seek season started, I was like, hold on, liquor isn't the problem. I'm the problem. So then I
Mm-hmm.
cut out watching TV during the day. The distractions that I had during the day was working from home and sitting in front of the TV, catching up and binge watching everything that I was working at a slower pace because I'm watching things. The minute I turned that TV off, that's when y'all got Dear Future Husband. That's when you got the couch conversations and talking about my faith journey and Seek season. I'm telling you, when
Yes.
you eliminate the thing that you think is not hindering you. I didn't think it was TV. I thought I was studying. I'm serious. I went to
And all
one.
along, it was just a full out distraction.
I went to one screening in LA where I got to be in the room with actors and actresses, young Hollywood, who are on the Netflixes, the Hulus, Peacocks, all of the networks. And I caught myself after that spending a lot more time watching TV because I wanted to know who these people were, calling it research.
Right.
When I had just gotten in the habit of keeping the TV on and just watching what was trending. I turned that TV off, and this is the best content I've ever created in my life.
Mm. And let's continue to talk about this context. So yes, let's get into Dear Future
But wait,
Husband, because what I love
wait
about
you
this.
asked, but wait, you asked me this. Are you going to get more?
Oh yes, are you giving
The
more?
answer is yes. The answer is yes because I realize the response that I've gotten, and people have told me to my face, I love the faith content that you're sharing because we are in a spiritual warfare right now.
Yeah,
Outside is a scary
it
place.
is. Every day you walk out, you got to walk up, chilled up, prayed up.
I cannot pinpoint why I enjoyed staying inside so much more. And it's because I'm not the only one feeling it. But anyway,
Right.
continue. Dear future husband, what you want to know, girl?
But I do have a comment though. The reason why is because what I love, that authentic side of you
Mm-hmm.
is so relatable, because behind the scenes for every woman that, and I'm a, you know what, I can't speak for other women. Let me speak for myself, because I feel like God did this, right? Because everything that you're saying is something that I either have felt or I'm feeling now. And it's amazing because it's a witness to see, because being a person who do a lot of interviews, who's traveling, who's doing these things, and you just be like, oh my gosh, like I have this outer glass, like this outer like shell, but inside I'm crying, I'm dwindling, because it's just like, God, please, 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 like I need, I don't know what it is. I don't know what the direction is. I don't know what I need to do to fall into you, but show me. And then all of a sudden it's just like, once you tune out, because it says in his word, you have to
You have,
seek him, right?
you have to. It
So
literally, it literally
in
said it. That was the first thing I opened the Bible
yeah,
to. But that's what I said in the video is that, and I'm reading the comments too. You're absolutely right.
yes.
I remember Shelly and I have a mutual friend who, like when Beyonce came to town, she decided not to go to the concert, and that was a whole thing, right? Like no big deal. And at the time, I was like, "Oh,
Right.
girl, like that's your walk, not mine." And I was curious as to why, but for her, it was a spiritual thing, and I get it. Everybody
Right.
has their own thing, but I've watched my friends kind of each fall back from the entertainment
Mhm.
industry, from creative, like these specific spaces, and really lean into their faith journey. And I didn't understand it at the time, but it's because I wasn't ready yet. It wasn't my time to understand it.
Right.
And so when I opened that Bible, and my highlighter was exactly where it was the last time I opened the Bible, it's like Easter eggs, like in
Mm.
movies. God drops these Easter eggs, drops these nuggets, and hopes that you will go back and find
Mm.
it in a whisper, in the most quiet moment, in a decision.
Yeah.
And in that decision, what did he say? Seek me and you will find me. How? How
Mm.
did I get here? Because I was preparing you already. I was
Yes.
preparing you for a season you didn't even know that you were about to walk into.
And he's telling you he's right there with you. He's waiting on you. He's waiting. He's right there, and
King.
he's just waiting.
He's waiting. And the craziest part about it is we wait on God to do something material. We're not waiting on God to have the relationship.
Mm.
That's that's where things get all dicey. Is I wasn't waiting on God to have a relationship. I thought I had one, but I had never had one like this.
Mm.
And not on my own.
I love this. Oh my God. So, girl, we're gonna be sitting here talking the whole night. I love it. But I want to get into the
Yeah.
content. I want to be able to get into your next endeavors. I do also want to go into a few other things as well. Let's get into dear future husband,
Ooh.
right? So I love, even for me being married, I
Yeah.
still love the what you see, how the content comes across in being a woman and being prepared, right? You're in saying, like, I want to be able to, dear future husband, this is what's going on, this is, what you're coming to, and things of that nature. What basically inspired you? Because obviously we're in a day and age where relationships, either they feel like they don't have no value. We every day we turn on the TV or we look in social media, there's someone with the squiggly lines, and who broke up today, who's getting divorced today. So in this climate, how did that inspire you to create the dear future husband content?
Girl. How did I come up with that? The first video was me pumping gas, I believe. And I in that moment I had my tripod sitting in the front seat and I said, this could be interesting. So I propped the phone up and it's just me driving. I just have these thoughts. And again, it was that first week of Seek season.
Mm.
So I just pulled the thing out and prop it by the window and record the video. And I'm trying to figure out, how can I use this? Because at first I think it was just gonna be like, this is ghetto, where's my man? And then
Not this.
I had to posture it differently. I
Mm-hmm.
just kept hearing, speak as though it already is.
Mm.
And so I said, all right, well, dear future husband, blah, 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 blah. And I had to figure out a way to make it comical, but also relatable and things that we're already talking
Right.
about. I know there's women out there who are like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of filling up my own tank or pumping the
And
gas
that's what I love
myself.
about that video. It's the pumping of the gas.
I would, and it's so crazy because it's something as small as that. And I would see people, like women driving their car and their man would be in the passenger seat, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I love the don't get out of the seat. I'll come around and I'll do it.
Yeah,
So,
tell me that.
it's really just a series full of things that we women are talking about online. Just,
Right.
this would make my life so much easier. And I'm a girl who does everything for herself. And yes, it is adulting. For all the men out there who are like, congratulations, you're adulting. It is.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it'll still be adulting when there's a man involved. So please spare me. But wait, there's more. So stay tuned. There are videos in pocket that will be rolling out eventually. And quick trip responded.
Yes. And what was like the most, I guess, like greatest feedback you received in regards to just like literally, whether if it was for Dear Future Husband or whether if it was for season, what is like the greatest feedback you received just in to stay encouraged?
I want to say two of my best friends called me. One of them said, "Bitch, I've been waiting on you to show up like this. Where has this been?" She's like, "You do it with me all the time. Why couldn't you just do this on these videos? Thank God." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay, not too much." And then the other one said, "This is incredible. Like, we have something here." And I've got nothing but that ever since I've been putting them out. And so it's made me a lot more comfortable just sharing the things that come to my mind because I'm funny.
Yes.
I think I'm so funny and I crack myself up and somebody's got to hear this. But I also know that when my person comes around, when my husband comes, he's going to get the clown version of me. So don't be surprised.
Right.
This was already here. So,
and all you gotta do is look at your page and come prepared. That's it. Like, listen, this what you're getting, sweetie. Okay, come prepared.
Listen, come prepared. You see the work, you see the material, you see the funny side.
Yes.
Just know, as much as I like to be taken care of, so will you, King. You will have a smile all the time.
And then just to piggyback off that, kind of go into, do you feel that there's a fine line? Because I get it, as media personalities, there's things we feel like, hey, we're going to share, being authentic, but there's some things I'm not crossing, but yet we see on social media lines are very blurred and crossed all the time.
Yes.
So how do you set that boundary, even though you're still trying to be vulnerable and authentic and give great content? How do you set that boundary, knowing what to give?
I find myself creating definitions for things that already have definitions. For example, I believe that there's a difference between an influencer and an ambassador. I create content. I don't blog. So, like, you're going to get very structured material from me that is well thought out or not so well thought out, but also there's going to be parameters around what I'm sharing or a topic. It's not just going to be,
well, hey guys, I'm on here today.
Yeah, I'm not good at that. And there are people in the world who are, and I admire that. I wish I had that level of openness with the internet, but also, no, I'm okay because it does leave a bit of a mystery.
Right.
And this is so funny. Yeah, it leaves mystery. It also gives people the opportunity to ask questions. I feel like I'm in the business of asking other people questions, and I sometimes don't like to feel like when I'm talking to people, I'm interrogating them, but I do want room for you to ask me something back that you probably didn't see online or on my socials or whatever. So I hope that what I create gives you the room to create for yourself and create questions, because that's the reason behind my brand as well. Is I want you to ask, who am I? Not necessarily behind my back, but to my face. Ask me and I'll tell you.
Right.
So
Ain't nothing like coming to the source.
Ain't nothing like comfort.
Nothing like coming to the source.
Yeah.
And so, of course, with it being, I know we done had such a good conversation, but we didn't have time. But it's okay if you got a little bit more time. I know we went over,
I I had you on
but
I had you on my calendar till 7. Come on, we got
got
this.
you. So I definitely want to talk about. First of all, I know you were honored last year in Fulton County.
Yeah.
So, and congratulations to you, and shout out to Media's Girls Network, and all these different organizations that support women endeavors. I want you to kind of talk about that honor, and I also want you to say, let me know, like, what does that mean for you to be able to say, because you didn't wait for someone to open a door for you or put you at the table. Talk about creating those spaces, because obviously you're a brand in itself. Creating all this content, being able to being a mover and a shaker in the entertainment industry. Kind of talk about the ways in which you were able to create for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I cannot take credit for this. I can just be the avatar that is moving, but literally God is going like this. And also being honored by Fulton County, getting a proclamation, which literally sits
I
right there.
love it.
Yeah, had to. It's a reminder because I truly did not believe that I deserved that. I feel like I should have been walking with Dr. King and holding hands with Andy Young, and I should have been at every ecumenical service for MLK Day, if I'm being quite honest, to receive a proclamation for Fulton County. Brain is still shook. Um, but I just thank Jaleesa and Media Girls Network every single time I look at that, because Jaleesa is one of the people that believed in me from the very beginning as well. She saw something, and for years, this is year 10 for me. This has called me back to do things, interview people. Hey, Anisa, I'd love to see you here, and we show up for each other. So for that, it's like you can't make this stuff up. Like I started, when you're good to people and you do the work and you do it honestly, things like this happen just off of you good. So I am trying to figure out what this looks like for year 1, the anniversary, the day. How do we celebrate?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about the city and how we can keep making it greater, while also putting other media girls in position. There are times when I recognize, and I'm very much a girl's girl here, I say yes to everything. But I need us all to understand and hear me when I say this. We got to do a better job, one, at passing each other opportunities, and two, knowing, I don't want to say the niche, but the lane in which we occupy.
That part.
Because station is not for everybody.
That is true.
Opportunity is not for everybody. So tapping into our strengths and our weaknesses, this is kind of I feel like it's a controversial topic because it's like it's an opportunity to get on the mic and to put somebody in position. It is. But you can be as prepared as you think you are and still not be prepared for that topic. The likes and the followers, or do you really want to make an impact? And those are the conversations that I want to have and I want to be a part of. I feel like I'm no longer in the space to necessarily be the party host per se, but I know exactly who to call for that, or to say this will be a better person to fit what you're looking for.
Right.
But when you want to sit down, you need a little razzmatazz, little razzle dazzle. I got you. But I also know somebody else, if you don't have the budget for me, that would take that because they need it. So I also tell people who throw events, don't be afraid of using an up and coming talent. You want to use me because we're homies and you want me to take what you're giving me, but I got somebody else who could, one, really use the opportunity, and two, is really great to me. Like they have the talent. So see it through.
And I love that you touched on that, because I think that sometimes, depending on your circle, depending on your circle. So let me make that clear. Depending on who's in the circle, I think that sometimes I think individuals can think the lines get crossed because of the fact that if you know, like you said, what your lane is,
Mm-hmm.
but you know someone else, but because of the fact you're telling them to say, hey, I have to decline, but I'm declining respectfully,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll look at it as, well, no, she didn't.
Oh,
Girl,
what?
we you serious? Like, girl, you my homie. You supposed to. And I think that sometimes people it's so misconstrued, and that's why I feel like for me, sometimes I have to give PSAs on certain things. Like,
But
hold on, let's make this clear. But I feel like I shouldn't have to.
you shouldn't have to. But again, and I'm so sorry to the people out there who are like, oh my gosh, she's doing a lot with this God thing, and I will continue to do so. But another scripture I came across is God will fight for you. All you have to do is be silent. There is power in your no. The power in your no is just as strong as your yes. But the problem, what happens is with people, is when they feel like you're inconveniencing them. Well, how do you know this isn't an inconvenience to me, but I'm also providing a solution to my no? So I'm also helping in the process because I could say no and it just be a no. Have somebody who may be better for you, your budget, this opportunity, who might give you an opportunity to really put them in place. It's
That
a
part.
ripple effect.
That part.
When I put them in place, then they do amazing. And then now you can say, you know, we had them on our event. We are responsible for this next generation of talent that's coming next. But if we don't pass them anything, then where does it go? Where does it go? I can't do it all, nor do I want to do it all. I don't.
Listen,
So,
this
so
is this was everything. Oh my goodness, and that definitely. Before we wrap up, there's one other thing I want to get into, your soul food sessions, which you created in ATL, because of course I have to ask about that.
this is so.
I personally just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I feel like this was definitely alignment, because everything you have, the gems you gave on this interview, I feel like you spoke to me,
Oh, yay.
and it's really touched my heart, like to a point where I feel like I want to cry, but I'm not gonna cry. I'm good.
Girl, we can touch and agree. Okay. Faces,
And
huh?
this is just something
You're
that's about this. It was just everything.
you were so perfect and you were so on time with one, mentioning soul food sessions, but two, the timing in which this happened. I missed y'all's first email and I apologize for that, but to be able to do this now and to celebrate both of us in this month is,
Yes.
and again, that just goes back to timing, that it really isn't up to us because it's going to get orchestrated either way. um,
Yes.
but you mentioned soul food sessions, and my brother is in here who I did soul food sessions with.
Yes. Come on,
Swank,
brother.
I know. Swanky just popped in at the right time. That's so crazy. Your timing is excellent, bro. And it's crazy because that makes me feel like we've been talking about. Oh, you didn't even ask your question yet. I'm gonna wait. Go ahead.
No, no, no. So I definitely, the what I love is because our platform is in supports of those working in music and media, up and coming, because we want to be able to be a platform to support these creatives. And you created this session that provides the opportunity for Atlanta artists. And I kind of want to just kind of dive into just giving the gist and the background, and first of all the inspiration, because I know you said your brother was in here, so I'm assuming your brother was, basically this was a co-partner thing. So kind of kind of talk to us into that, because it was the content.
Listen. So yeah. We started during the pandemic, and that was when everybody was going live, playing music on
Mhm.
live before Instagram would start shutting down the music for not owning the copyright, before all of that.
Child.
So we would go on live, and he and I together would plan which three artists we were going to have an interview and a concert from them, and just feed it through the system, whether it's them actually performing their music or we just play a few records and we talk about it. And it became something that I don't know if I was even ready for. I
Mhm.
just knew that I knew friends and I had friends who created incredible music, who I wasn't afraid to share with the world. Now, we all have friends who be like, all right, you definitely you do music now. You do it. But then we have friends who it's so good. It's intentional. It is well mixed. These are the things we were looking for because my brother Slinky, he's a producer as well. He's not just a DJ. And so we were really going through, and not even just Atlanta artists, but when we did have Atlanta artists, we even tried to get them to come in person and do it live with us. So doing it all over the country with people who may have been in LA and New York and just all over, and they would set their houses up with these like performance
Like a nice
areas
little
and
stage. It's just amazing.
beautiful. It was beautiful. Even I'll never forget when we had Deontay Hitchcock on and he was singing into his broom. That's a moment I will never forget. And it was right after his project with the song How TF came out. And we were running that project down. And then also Ola, who is, I believe he's a backup singer now with Summer Walker. He's an artist himself, and he had sheets draped in his house as if he was in a 90s R&B video. And it was just the creative that was coming from my friends just to get on my live. And we didn't know who was going to show up. I wasn't prepared.
And
Now, what
it definitely was a space that was needed because not only that we were just in our homes,
yeah,
it was the fact that, because remember, questions of, does R&B still exist? Does, the real music, real subsidiarity of music still exist in those sectors, especially being a music lover, those were the questions being presented. And to be able to have something of that trajectory, to be able to show the world that, listen, we got talent, we still got creators, like it's good, like y'all got mixed up in the sauce over there, but it, like, pay it when you see this is something that it was just given the answers to, like it's there, it's hidden, these are hidden gems, and it's just like, it was just amazing. I have to tip my hat off to you and your brother, to all those who made that possible, to have those artists on that platform. What would you say at that time could have been the most challenging part of that?
um consistently getting kicked off of Instagram.
Well,
That was hard. Connections, like the material things, connection issues were really hard. Um, but where I thought that it was going to take a lot of convincing to managers of people who have representation, that was the easiest yes I think I've ever gotten. They didn't have to go anywhere. I was only asking for them to be on for 10 minutes, and the managers trusted me. So they knew it wasn't going to be one of those interviews where we ambushed them.
right.
It genuinely was a platform. And, Lord willing, one day it makes a comeback. I got to ask the question that we were starting to ask each other, but I don't think we were really tapped in because we were all wrapped up in our own, we're in the house thing. But I really got to ask creatives, how are you doing? Because the world is doing the world is literally riding your back right now because you're the ones keeping us going. You got to keep going. You got to keep creating music. And speaking of people whose backs we rode, my friend Branford just jumped in here, the founder of They Have the Range. So there's a community of people who are really listening to the streets, and we were all asking each other the same thing is, are you good? How are you maintaining?
Right.
Do you feel getting today? And if not, what are you doing instead? Don't let the world feel like they're rushing you into creating something else because we need a new trend or a new dance or something like that.
Right.
Because then you're gonna write some lyrics that don't mean anything to you.
Right.
You're
Right.
not gonna be you. So who knows? Will it make a comeback? That is one thing that Swanky and I talk about whenever we talk, is like, we got to figure this out.
Yes,
And
please.
maybe one day it will be in person. And I just hope that the people show up the way that they did on live.
I gotta be there when you do it. If you bring it up, listen, I have to be there in person.
No, because the question keeps coming up. They're like, so are y'all bringing it back? What is it? You want it that bad? Golly.
Because I think what it is that with this the indie music, because I love listening to different music, and I know we're gonna arrive. I'm not gonna try to pull this out long, but I think there's so many artists out there who needs to be heard, right? Who's deserving to be heard, because we're so caught up with the TikTok, right? The trends, whose song is popping over here, y'all, somebody make some type of idiotic sound or lyric, and then it's like they're blowing up overnight, right? And speaking that, you I was actually going to mention the platform they have, Range, because I love watching that platform. So shout out to your
Friend,
friend. Yeah, shout out to you, because I love being able to catch the aspect of different talent around the world in regards to them singing and be able to really promote their talent. And it's good definitely to ask those questions at that time, are they okay and what's going on, because it takes so much to pour into the music.
yeah,
And my last and final question, I know we didn't get to hit everything, because this was just amazing, and God guided this the way that it needed to be guided, right? um what is some encouragement in which those who are seeking to be in this media space, this entertainment space, and still that's trying to find themselves and figure this out, which obviously life is a continual journey, which we're still going to figure out. We
yeah,
got to figure out.
yeah.
What encouragement would you be able to give to those individuals who's just looking and hoping just for some understanding?
I would tell them. I would tell them what I probably tell myself now that I wish I would have done before, is that I wish then I was a little bit more of an early adopter, and I wish that I I wish I moved quicker on certain things. Like my move is very much in a slow-mo sometimes.
Mm,
When you feel an idea, or when you feel an urge, or when you feel that tug of like you should do this, do it in that moment. Even if it's not perfect. We get in our own heads about, is this good enough? But what is the standard of enough? Um, and whether that's, am I good enough or is it good enough? Putting enough on it is going to keep you from putting it out or putting you out at all. So yeah, do whatever enough is for you.
mm,
Because again, the Bible never said it is stupendous, it is excellent, it is incredible. It said it is good. So that for me means good is enough.
mm,
So if it's
mm,
good to you, let it be good. And somebody out there is going to say, wow, this is great, because we measure things beyond what they actually are. So all I can say is stay the course. Again, we've heard Taraji's story about how she's really getting the light that she deserves and the flowers she deserves now, when she's been doing this
mm.
for years. This is
Years.
year 10. Year 10. And I don't even know when the date is. I just know that I started in 2014
Mm,
on Instagram. And that was during the follow for follow era, that I had enough people behind me willing to post a picture of me and use my hashtag, who is Anisa Brenee, getting people to ask exactly what I wanted them to ask, and that's, who are you? Now, the question today is, can you answer that? I can answer it, but I do know that the answer is going to change. And I'm giving myself the room to evolve. That's the other piece, is we get so caught up in one version of ourselves that we think we're supposed to stay that way. But what happens when you change, so does the content.
mm. Yeah.
So does the content. So don't get married to the content that you're putting out. I'm trying to enjoy Dear Future Husband and the couch conversations for what they are, because I'm in my light bulb moment right now. I've I can't tell you the day it turned on, but I can tell you when I feel it on. It's a lot warmer right now. So if you feel like you're in the dark, I just need you to remember, and I told a friend of mine this a few days ago, that even in the darkest room, the light in the middle of the room still reaches the darkest corner, because you still can see even a glimmer of it. So keep trying to look for that light and walk towards it. Because you listen, we got this. We're all in this together, despite how many congratulatory posts are out there or how
Yeah.
many opportunities the person is getting. Every video does not get 1 million views.
So,
Sometimes it gets 8.
yeah.
So who decides if it's good enough? You do. Today was good enough. Now I'm gonna go rest.
Oh my gosh, let me get myself together because that was it. That was it. And you definitely spoke that. And I want to say thank you again. This was an amazing. I feel like for this season, this was bar for the most best interview I had. I know we got sidetracked a little bit, but listen, it was intended the way it was intended.
Amen.
So
Amen. Maybe we'll get a part 2 when Danielle is back.
yes,
Who knows? We
yes,
gotta get the girl in here.
yes. And so, guys, thank you so much for jumping in. Anisa, I just want to say thank you so much for taking this time to have this conversation with me. For those who could have came in a little later, please make sure you go subscribe to our YouTube channel and take for our indie talks and be able to catch up on this interview because it was powerful. Okay, if you missed it, you just go back and circle back. Okay. And just really quickly before we get off, do you have anything that's upcoming that you want to speak about, or what anything you want to share with your friends and your community here?
Yeah. So the first thing is there's a Dear Future Husband that just came out, maybe an hour ago. So go look at that, and then more couch conversations for sure. As far as events, there are some things coming down the pipe, but you gotta follow me to find out.
Yes.
Yeah. And like they used to say on the TV, stay live. This is,
Listen.
and you're watching Instagram.
Right. I love it. I love the energy. I love it. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Anisa, once again, thank you so much. I want you to be blessed and enjoy your evening. I look forward to seeing every and thing and every event, every content video, all that you're putting up there. I'm inspired. Okay, you have another media girl that is inspired to the heart, and this is exactly what we need to see on our timelines and what we need on our social medias. Okay, not just gossip and all the other stuff. We need, this is purity in
Good.
its form of material and content, what we need. So thank you so
You're
much.
so
And you have a good evening because we're gonna start another conversation. So I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you
oh,
go.
all right. Bye, girl. Bye, y'all.